Ever heard of a man so silent, that even his enemies whispered his name in fear? Today, you're about to meet him. But before we start, if you believe that strength, honor, and kindness still exist in this world, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay till the end, because this story will change the way you look at heroes forever. The morning sun glowed softly over a quiet corner of New Mexico, painting golden rays across a small roadside diner called Maria's Table. It wasn't fancy, just 4 booths, a few stools, and a kitchen that smelled of fresh coffee and hope. The owner, a single dad named Gabriel Cortez, moved behind the counter like a man who had lived 1,000 lives but still smiled like someone grateful for each sunrise. To the locals, Gabriel was just a humble man, a veteran who served his country and returned to raise his little daughter, Sophia, after losing his wife to cancer. He worked long hours, often humming old tunes, and never talked about the scars beneath his rolled-up sleeves. Sophia, 8 years old, had his same dark eyes and fierce spirit. She helped serve tables after school, greeting every customer like family. But what no one knew, what no one could ever imagine, was that years ago, Gabriel Cortez was not just a soldier. He was the Ghost, a Delta Force operative whose missions were whispered about in classified circles. A man who vanished into enemy lines and returned with everyone accounted for. The kind of warrior who didn't seek medals, he carried memories instead. Gabriel thought those days were behind him. He hung up his rifle for a spatula, his combat boots for old sneakers. All he wanted now was peace, and pancakes for breakfast with Sophia. But peace has a strange way of testing those who have earned it the most. That day began like any other, customers laughing, a local sheriff sipping coffee, and Sophia drawing little hearts on napkins. But out on the desert highway, a convoy of black trucks roared closer. Inside were men with tattoos inked in blood and loyalty, members of a ruthless Mexican cartel. Their leader, El Rayo, had crossed the border on a mission to silence a man who, years ago, dismantled their entire operation in South America. What El Rayo didn't know was that the man he sought was the same one flipping burgers behind a small diner counter. The trucks screeched to a stop outside Maria's Table. Dust rose like a warning. The sheriff's hand twitched near his holster. Sophia's eyes widened. Gabriel looked up, instantly recognizing the gait, the stance, the violence waiting to erupt. The cartel burst through the doors, guns raised, shouting in Spanish. Plates crashed, customers screamed, and in that split second, Gabriel made a choice, not as a soldier but as a father. He quietly stepped in front of Sophia, placing her behind the counter. His voice was calm. "Sweetheart," he whispered, "do you remember what Daddy said to do when there's thunder?" Sophia nodded, her little lips trembling. "I hide, and wait for the rain to stop. That's my girl." The leader stomped in, his eyes scanning the diner. "Where is he?" he barked. "The one they call Ghost." Gabriel's heart slowed. The sheriff tried to draw, but a gun was pressed against his temple before he could blink. Fear choked the room. Gabriel sighed, an old, weary sound. He took off his apron, folded it neatly, and set it on the counter. "You should have stayed in your lane, amigo," he said softly. The men laughed, mocking him, an old cook in a flannel shirt. But that laugh died fast. In the blink of an eye, Gabriel's movements turned from calm to catastrophic. A mug became a weapon, a table flipped into cover, and 3 cartel men hit the ground before they even pulled their triggers. The sheriff ducked as Gabriel disarmed. Another with a twist that shattered bone. The Ghost had awakened. The fight was brutal, swift, and quiet. Every motion was surgical, every strike delivered with precision. But Gabriel wasn't fighting for medals anymore. He was fighting for the life of his daughter, and the promise he made to his wife, to protect what was left of their world. El Rayo, realizing who he was facing, screamed orders. More men rushed in, surrounding the diner. The Ghost stood in the center, chest rising slow, eyes calm. "You want a war," he said. "Then you just picked the wrong battlefield." He used the diner itself as a weapon, boiling coffee pots, swinging signs, shadows and light. One by one, the cartel fell. Gabriel didn't kill, he incapacitated, disabled, disarmed. Because this time, his mission wasn't destruction, it was redemption. By the time sirens wailed from down the road, the last cartel soldier was groaning on the floor. The sheriff stared at Gabriel, jaw slack. "You, who are you?" Gabriel looked down at Sophia, who who had peeked from behind the counter, her eyes filled with both fear and pride. He smiled softly. "Just a dad," he said, trying to keep the rain away. The sheriff nodded slowly. "Well, Dad, looks like you just saved half the county." News spread fast. People called him a hero, a legend, a ghost. But Gabriel didn't care for the spotlight. He reopened the diner the next morning, same smile, same apron, same pancakes. When a local reporter came asking for his story, Gabriel simply said, "This isn't a story about fighting. It's about never letting the darkness take what you love." As for Sophia, she learned that day what true strength looks like, not in violence, but in love that protects, forgives, and stands tall no matter how hard the wind blows. So if you're watching this right now, remember, heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes, they wear aprons. Sometimes, they just want to make you breakfast.